Alright everyone, time for another episode review slash look at, and this time it's Dagger of the Mind. The Enterprise, commanded by James T. Kirk, makes a supply run to Tantalus 5, a colony for the criminally insane. Excuse me. After the Enterprise delivers supplies and receives cargo from Tantalus for delivery elsewhere, apparently an escaped inmate emerges from a container and overcomes a technician. When they notify the Tantalus administration, Kirk, First Officer Spock, and Chief Medical Officer Dr. McCoy learn that the stowaway is Dr. Simon Van Gelder, former assistant to Tantalus Director Tristan Adams. Van Gelder reaches the bridge, phaser in hand, and demands asylum. Spock subdues him with a Vulcan nerve pinch. McCoy, suspicious, wants to examine Van Gelder, and Kirk urges to investigate. Kirk transports to the colony with psychiatrist Helen Noel. Adams introduces them to an emotionless woman, Leth, and gives Kirk and Noel a tour of the colony. Although he is affable and accommodating, his staff seems detached. Adams shows Kirk and Noel a device which injured Van Gelder, an experimental neural neutralizer. According to Adams, Van Gelder tested the neural neutralizer on himself and became insane. He claims that the machine, harmless at low intensity, is only used to calm agitated inmates. Noel is satisfied with this explanation, but Kirk remains suspicious. On the Enterprise, Van Gelder is increasingly frantic, warning that the landing party is in danger. When he refers to the neural neutralizer, great pain overcomes him. Spock mind melds with Van Gelder to obtain a clearer picture of his story. Adams is insane, and is using the device on inmates and staff in controlling experiments. The first officer assembles a security team. The colony's force field blocks transport and communication. Kirk accesses the neutralizer and tests it on himself, with Noel at the controls. During the test, she playfully suggests that a Christmas party encounter went further than it did. Adams appears, overpowers Noel, seizes the controls, increases the neutralizer's intensity, and brainwashes Kirk into thinking that he has been in love with Noel for years. Kirk and Noel are seized and confined to their quarters. With Kirk's help, Noel reaches the facility's control room through a ventilation duct and interrupts Kirk's next neutralizer session by shutting off power to the complex. Kirk fights Adams, leaving him unconscious on the floor of the treatment room. The guard discovers Noel's sabotage, restoring power before turning his attention to her. He expects an easy fight against a woman, but she tricks him by feigning unconsciousness before surprising him with an athletic kick to his solar plexus when he moves in on her, propelling him into the circuitry and electrocuting him. Awesome! She turns off the power, takes the dead guard's phaser, and returns to the ventilation duct. With the force field off, Spock, McCoy, and security team beam down to the planet. Spock restores power to the colony after disabling the force field and wittingly reactivating the neural neutralizer. He and McCoy rejoin Kirk and Noel. They discover that when the neural neutralizer re-energized, Adams was still on the floor in the vacant treatment room. The neutralizer emptied his mind, killing him. Van Gelder recovers his sanity, takes charge of the colony, and destroys the neural neutralizer. Well, good for him. Anyway, let's look at the production elements of the story, shall we? Or rather, the legacy and influence of the story. In articles in the magazine Starlog Entertainment Weekly, actor Morgan Woodward called the role of Dr. Simon Van Gelder the most physically and emotionally exhausting acting job of his career. Desperate to get out of westerns and expand his range, he was cast against type for this episode and was so well regarded that he came on board next season to play the tragic Captain Ronald Tracy in the Omega Glory. Playing Van Gelder did take its toll in his personal life, and he confesses that for 3 weeks afterwards he was antisocial towards friends and family. He is grateful that this episode opened up whole new opportunities for him. The second season South Park episode, Roger Ebert, Chile Off the Fatty Foods, is a parody of this episode. Wow, pretty strong stuff, huh? So, overall, I give Dagger of the Mind 5 warp cores out of 5. Well, join me next time as we find out, as we see for the first time, the Cobra maneuver. So, until then, live long and prosper, everybody.